Assassin's Creed Mirage, the newest installment into the Assassin's Creed franchise. And even with all these great new technological advances since 2007, the oldest Assassin's Creed game still has more content and is a longer playthrough than Mirage. It comes in at only 20 to 25 hours for 100% completion because the story is very basic and honestly kind of boring and generic. Today I'm going to be getting the Platinum Trophy for Assassin's Creed Mirage. It has 51 trophies within and lots of glitches included to help top you off since your girl won't anymore. The game begins with an awesome warning to any individual who is susceptible to bright lights, because you could be assassinated by this game in real life apparently. Then it actually begins and we get some weird intro futuristic Iron Man Jarvis looking thing, which I can't even recall what they said or why this happened because it plays nearly zero part in the rest of the game until the ending. But we did get to see some cool cinematic shots of the world we were about to be tortured in for hours. After all of that lore, we finally see the character we will abuse all day, and he's basically a suffering schizophrenic who has nightmares all the time because they didn't quite have perks back then to help. But he does wake up from the nightmare and we see one of the other main characters named Nihal. Now that is a name in which I could see belonging to a horse or something, and if she had a bigger nose, I think she would look like one.
We don't have to go there. I mean, you're not wrong.
On the first mission, we go around and pickpocket people to really get introduced into the life of a commoner from 400 years ago. This is the equivalent of day trading nowadays since it's all the rage. We then met with Dervis, who is one of our homeboys who we trust with everything, even our OnlyFans password. He gives us the first real quote-unquote assassin's mission. They call them the hidden ones in this game, but I'm just going to refer to them as assassins mostly because the hidden ones sounds kind of stupid and it reminds me of that one kid who wore the creeper sweatshirt to school. Anyways, I found some guy who had a key in which I needed that to retrieve the ledger for Dervis about shipping routes. So I punched him in the nuts and then took all of the manhood he had left. Then snatched the ledger and returned it to Dervis, but the hidden one's leader was there and I got a hard on very fast. Sadly, it went away when I heard this voice actor's voice because Lord have mercy, it either sounds like a bad AI or some lady who has been smoking 12 packs of cigarettes every hour for the past 45 years.
There. It looks as though it was delivered this morning.
Your little pussy belongs to me.
Like, I'm not sure if she even has anything left that you could even consider a lung anymore. And I'm so glad that we got to hear that dumb voice all game. Thank God we kill her. So anyways, our boy basically just embarrassed himself in front of the cigarette mom, which is hard to do since they are desperate. Before this, we looked at the ledger and also heard them talking, so we know where the next mission was. So instead of sitting back like we were told to, you go and infiltrate a massively guarded palace. And after finding this secret item and idiotically touching it without knowing where it's been, the king shows up behind you. And that horse girl from the beginning just stabs him right in the neck arteries and he dies. You then run away like usual and hide in fear. Trying to get a good night's sleep after that ordeal would be very hard, but it didn't help that I woke up to see nobody else besides the cigarette mom. She obviously wanted to know what we stole and saw because that was her job to do, and somehow we beat her to it. I'm not really sure how that even happened.
Retard or what?
But before continuing the journey, we had to return back to Dervis to see how he was doing. And the entire village was just, how do I say this lightly? They were dead. And yeah, so we got a trophy for the intro.
That's what I'm saying.
The next part of the game just consists of you becoming an assassin at the special training area in the mountains. And after an hour of walking around and frolicking in the flowers and knives, you get inducted into the Brotherhood, if you will. And they even had the audacity to cut off my finger as a down payment. And all of a sudden, an 8% mortgage interest rate doesn't sound so bad after all. Right after that, we got to finally fight the dumb cigarette mom. But one of the side characters ruins it by running in and supposedly saying he is dying. I didn't believe it for a second, but we got another trophy finally. And then we get to return to the city, and we actually got to see what game we were playing today. The first mission in the real game story is to find the assassin's hideout. But before I did that, I had to first figure out how to get off of my camel because I couldn't find the right button. Now I feel like an idiot, but eventually I figured out you have to press and hold down circle. But conveniently enough, the option only pops up after holding it down for a little bit before you have to hold it down even more. So I might be an idiot, but that is dumb. Anyway, we've made it to the hideout, which just acts as a fast travel point and somewhere to get missions, upgrade weapons, and well, hide in. The way they organize missions in this game was with an investigation board, and it has quite a few different storylines for different people that you need to assassinate, who are all a part of the Order, which is the masked men we saw in the intro. Basically, they're just bad, and we gotta find and kill. So I went to do the first mission, and funnily enough, Dervis was the guy I needed to get info from all these years later. Honestly, I'm shocked he's still kicking it, and sadly, he hasn't grown back the hair. A true tragedy. But he did give me some info and send me off my way. I ended up on a mission trying to find some prisoner records so I could break a real one out. While doing this, we got to see modern Ubisoft ingenuity and how polished this game is. Truly revolutionary. Not only did my guy T-pose and fly, It also gave me a trophy for doing that. Sadly, that T-pose action dumped me into the enemy base and I got my socks rocked and died for the first time of the day. But I did find out where Allie is located, and we get sent on the next mission to find him. It is also the first mission where we get a little intro guide thing to help us have any clue in what the hell is going on. Before I waltzed into certain death, however, I wanted to get rid of my wanted level, and the only way to do that in this game is to tear down fan art of yours on the wall. And I got the poster boy trophy. I then convinced some rebels to attack the entire workforce of the prison and probably die, but at least they got some quality payment before certain doom. While I was inside, it was a bit of a mess, but I found Allie and some fat ass guard was keeping an oddly tight eye on him. Thankfully, I completely whiffed my throwing knife, and that was on purpose as a distraction just so we were clear. But I did continue to miss him and ended up actually just knocking off his horn from his back for a trophy. Sadly, that trophy didn't get rid of the big boy and I had to fight him. But I remembered I'm an assassin and killed him swiftly. Allie is the leader of the rebels, so he grabbed a weapon to protect himself because he's so good at that, he ended up in prison. We then had a little brawl and escaped the place, completing the mission. Later on, we reached the first mission where we can assassinate someone finally. And it only took 5 hours of gameplay to get here. So the target's name is Al Ghul, which sounds fake, but I jumped onto him like an excited dog and strung him up with a rope to hang him. So A+ for creativity, I guess. Then we unlocked this cool new ability where you can just pause time and select some enemies to teleport to and kill. Gotta love the realism. And after Cigarette Mom talked to us about our feelings, we got a trophy. I then later on took out some men in a library, which was an odd sight, and looted a chest which gave me some mid-ass items and a trophy. Then I jumped onto a man in red while I was completely hidden under the covers of stealth. He didn't even feel it in his butt before he passed on. There was then a slightly missable trophy where you need to blow a man who has an orange key, and then steal it while he was sleeping. Basim, who is the character you play as, then acts a little sus and is being a peeping Tom on this woman who was super annoying and thought she was the main character. So to humble her, we jumped off of her own roof and just decimated her chances at living to 50. I was on this other mission and got some trophy called Potion Collector. Now I have no clue why, but I did. We then got another serious assassination mission, and while I was trying to catch the dude's booty hole, I ended up blowing another dude and got the sleep tight trophy. I then finally caught up to the guy we have been after, and in order to do so, I had to change into a male stripper outfit from the 1600s and participate in his ritual until he got close enough for me to slice him up. Whilst enjoying the kill cam, however, Basim continued to see a nightmare act out in front of him, and after he pissed himself out of fear, we got a trophy. I then added paint to one of my outfits, which was also a trophy. One of the things you should make sure to do this entire game is just pickpocket people whenever possible, because this is like the only and best way to get currency, which you need for trophies later on. And while I was stealing from poor people like the government, I got a trophy. I then assassinated 2 more totally not innocent people, and got numerous trophies during this time. The first was from just sitting on a bench and really questioning my existence and what I'm doing with my life. But once she popped back in my mind, I got up and left and got a trophy. I then used a noisemaker for the first time, which probably is the worst tool in the game, but it gives a trophy. And I got another one for popping out of the rose petals and groping a man who was simply unaware of his surroundings, which is all his fault. And then another one again for spying on people with my bird, which was called Birds of Prey. And I even think they made a movie into that, but I'm not positive. Later on, I ended up completely screwing up a mission to hell and got caught by like every single known enemy to mankind. And I had to 1v1 this samurai looking odd guy who was the hardest enemy in the game, I'm pretty sure. So much so that I had to resort to water combat to beat him, and it gave me a trophy because it was so hard. Sadly, I get hard all the time and I never receive anything for it. I had this objective which made me steal a costume to enter this place, and I did it, which means I now had 2 costumes, and apparently that's so cool that I got a trophy. It isn't even Halloween yet. But if this video gets 5,000 likes before Halloween, I'll stream Outlast 2's Platinum Trophy while us wearing a penis costume for Halloween. Anyways, we finally reached the final assassination mission for the game. It's this mid-ass looking girl, and before it even begins, we got a trophy. This mission wasn't very hard since we had already been in this place before, but eventually we found the steamy showers, and there she was, just waiting for us to find her. Honestly, it started to feel like the beginning of a messed up love story until the cigarette mom got jealous and just murdered her right in front of my face. Truly cruel, and I'm kind of sad now.
Oh my god!
But we got the trophy, so it's kind of okay. The end of the game, however, has you return back to the Hidden One's mountain home, and it's been overrun by the enemy. Then again, everyone sort of is the enemy right now, and before we had the boss fight against the cigarette bomb, I got a trophy for headshot knife kills, which must hurt in a way that can't be described in good nature. The beginning of the boss fight was kind of weird since nothing you could do can hurt her. Not even my fart bomb did anything except for give me a trophy. But you could very specifically throw a knife at her arm, which was weak, I guess. After that, it was fair game, and I penetrated her health until she gave up. We then went to this weirdly cool tomb, I guess you could call it. Everything was super futuristic, and this is where the plot all gets tied together, but I'm still lost at what the hell we accomplished. I won't spoil any of it because I honestly don't even know what happened, but it was a bunch of schizophrenia is all I'll say. So we got the final story trophy, and now it's time for the cleanup, which is actually where most of my playtime came from. Stage 1 of cleanup is to just go after every single collectible and 100% each region of the game. There isn't too many different regions, but in most Assassin's Creed games, that's the case, so it's nothing new. While I was doing this, I got quite a few trophies naturally. First, I fully upgraded my armor finally, and then paid off the wand level to this dude multiple times. I then got another throwing knife trophy and another for fully upgrading my sword. And I finally got synchronization on every single viewpoint in the game. This was a bit hard because some don't show up on the map and are way out of the beaten path. Next, I talked to the priest who had a super good hairstyle, and he also gave me a trophy for doing his tail or whatever it was called. I then finally reached over 2007 dirhams. I don't even know. This trophy isn't actually hard at all if you constantly pickpocket people, and I could have gotten it hours ago. I was just spending the money for other things I needed. I then paid the musicians 5 times to endorse my ears with such succulent harmony. And finally, another 3 hours later, I got the Explorer trophy for finding every single collectible in each area, which was absolute agony if I'm being honest, because many times there were puzzles for certain items that were locked behind the puzzles. I then had to go back and turn in some of those items I got. First I went to Dervis and gave him all the things he was after, and then I went to this bookkeeper guy, and as of right now, or at least 2 days after the game's release, this was glitched and broken. He wouldn't accept any of the books I had because I found all 6 available in a lump sum without turning them in. Many people have had this issue, and the only way I found to fix it was by going and finding the secret 7th book, which is way off on the right side of the map, and I didn't even know it was there. But if you get that, he will then accept the books and you can get the trophy. So now that stage 1 of the cleanup is done, stage 2 is to get whatever miscellaneous trophies you have left. The first one I had was to hide numerous bodies in a hay bale, like any good farm boy would. Next was to pay merchant groups 5 times, which are the blue highlighted group who will walk around guards to distract them so you can enter places you're not supposed to be. I then somehow still needed to hit a few enemies with a smoke bomb because I hadn't done that fully yet, which was shocking. And then whilst I was doing contracts for skill points and another trophy, I found some random interactive thing in a pond, and it was actually an Enigma treasure, which I got a trophy for, not even meaning to. I then finished off my 10th contract for a trophy, paid off some more rebels, and upgraded all of my tools, which was another grindy trophy. Later on in the contract mission, I went for the 5 enemy kill with that special move thing, which is very easy because you can basically do it to anyone, anywhere in the range of it, which is very large. Now stage 3 is what I call the broken stage because these remaining trophies are both a tad bit glitched and broken. They also broke my soul in the process. The first one has you knock down 20 scaffoldings, which isn't too bad, but I did this so many times and I'm not sure its accuracy in counting it. And then, Lord have mercy, the next one called Blade in the Crowd.
It's not personal.
I'm gonna kill myself!
Wow.
Now the last real trophy I needed was to spend 10 minutes in open combat. This means you must fight for 10 minutes straight without dying or running out of enemies. It's not too bad, but you have to be careful not to accidentally kill the guy or get killed because both happened to me, and it made this a lot longer than needed. Now my last trophy was to just unlock all the skills in the game, which is still quite a challenge because there really isn't an XP system inside. Instead, you only get XP points for missions in certain contracts. So I just had to keep on doing contracts until I got enough skill points and unlocked the final skill for the final trophy. And then the platinum pop right after. This game was quite generic to be honest, but still fun most of the time. Thanks for watching and get this video to 5,000 likes, as I said before.